You won't believe the feature that the builder put in this beautiful model home right behind me. In just a few seconds, we're about to check it out, but we are in Jacksonville's hottest new neighborhood. We will go throughout this video. So that being said, let's go ahead and walk through this beautiful floor plan now.
All right, so let's go ahead and start off this walkthrough of this beautiful floor plan. First thing you're gonna notice, we get a nice front porch when we come up. So that way on a nice, beautiful day like today, you can really enjoy being outside, hang out on your front porch, just really enjoying the nature with it. And as we come on to the house, you're gonna see there's some brick aspects and brick elements to go with the hardy board siding, which is kind of that standard siding you're gonna see across the board with builders here. And they even did a nice paver, pathway up to the front door. So as we come in, we're greeted with a nice open foyer here. We have, some nice trace, really nice little tray ceiling when you first come in. And what I love that this builder did is with the tray here, they did a almost like shiplap or like wood inlay with the ceiling, and they actually offset it with almost like a turquoisey greenish color to give a pop of color, kind of break it up a little bit. So really a cool aspect that you don't see across the board. So I love when the builders do things like that. We do have our opening here, which would normally be our entry to our garage. This is their sales center, so they actually have it designed as a sales center. And then another cool aspect too is they actually did like a tile wall here, which really gives it kind of a cool element that we just don't see very often. So I'd love to know your thoughts on that. Is that something you would do with your house? Or is this something that, maybe you wouldn't do? I'd love to know your thoughts there. And then as we continue through, when we first come into the house, we have our first 2 bedrooms and bathroom. So we'll quickly look at this one. In this bedroom, they have it designed to kind of show you what they do as a builder. So they don't have it staged or anything like that, like you're used to. It's not all prettied up like some of the rest of most of the rest of the house will be, but it's just kind of cool just to see different things that this builder does with their homes here. Just really cool aspect. Because again, when you're choosing a home here in Jacksonville, when you're deciding which neighborhood you want to be in, what builder you want to go with, it's very important to know just how each builder builds their house, what they all do differently. So if you want to know more about that, to figure out what builder makes the most sense, reach out to me so we can go over all that great information. Then we have our second bedroom. So now we're back to the staged house. So the second bedroom, plenty of natural light as you can see here. It overlooks our front porch that we saw when we first came in. In this bedroom, it's a really good size. We have end tables with our full-size bed. You could easily do a queen-size bed here, and you still have room for a dresser as well, just to kind of show you just how much room is here. And part of why it feels so big is also has these nice tall ceilings, which I absolutely love when builders do. We also have our standard closet here, but I do like the fact that the builder did do the French doors, so to speak, with the closet. So no more bifolds that break. That's just a very cleaner, more elegant look to do. So I love when the builders do that with their model homes and with their actual, homes in general. So let's continue more throughout the rest of the house. All right, so as we continue through more of the house, one thing I want to bring up as we're walking through is this builder, they did some really beautiful wood look tile floors throughout this model. It has a little bit of a gray, but also brown with it. So it really ties in nicely with the rest of the finishes and color choice that they did in this house. So I really love this look with the tile. And then over here, we actually do have our laundry room. So the laundry is kind of the middle part of the house. And what I love that the builder did with this is they did give us some cabinetry up top. They also gave us a nice workstation in here, so to be able to fold laundry, whatever you may need to do, put laundry on top of here, below it. Really cool aspect, something that I wish I had with my house, and I definitely will make sure I do with my next house. And they really finished it off, really just to make that pop by giving us a nice, really elegant looking tile on the wall here, just to really highlight the space, really make it more of a focal point and tie it together with the flooring in here. So it's really cool aspect when builders do that. As we continue with that, we then get to our office. So before we go to the office, we do have our kitchen and living and dining room back there. So we'll get there in a second. I'm sure you can't wait to see that. But the office here, it's a really great size space. So they left it open. I'm sure you have the ability to close it in as well as if you wanted to. But as you can see here, there's a lot of room to roam in here. And part of that is by design with the size of the room, but part of that is the fact that they put this tray ceiling in here, which with this tray ceiling, they did continue that shiplap or wood inlay with the ceiling with that more turquoisey color. So again, very elegant, just very high-end having it like that. But with the tray there, with the size of the space, it just makes the space feel that much bigger. And again, they really made it elegant by, again, having all the natural light, having that really cool tile to match when you first come into the foyer, and then a lot of the open shelving as well. So I mean, it just has a lot of positives, a lot of things that really make it stand out and really epitomize just what it means to live here in this amazing community in Jacksonville. All right, now, I know you want to see the kitchen and living room, so let's go and check that out next. All right, so as we come to the next part of the house, this is by far where I would spend most of my time because of how amazing this builder did with their layout and with their design features here in the kitchen, as well as the dining living room, which we'll get to after the kitchen. So first thing you're gonna notice as we come in here, this builder, they did the floor to ceiling, cabinetry, obviously other than the countertops, but I love what the builder did with the cabinetry. They went with more of that, oak wood look, other than the island. And again, it's a very clean, very simplistic look. And it just kind of brings up the point of, we are starting to see more of the wood colors come back here in Jacksonville. And I love that aspect because we used to have, everything was gray. And gray can be good, but it's nice when you get some of those wood elements back. And even though we still do have some white cabinetry, like we do have that on the island here, white I think will always be in, and it's been super popular for the last decade here in Jacksonville. But it's nice to have that two-tone to kind of separate up a little bit as well. So the builder here, they did do our microwave oven combo. One of the cool aspects with that is, again, just to have that all in one space. We do get tons of countertop space here, and we get our vented hood with our gas stovetop. So this community we're in today, which we will mention the community later on in this video, is a gas community. It is one of the few gas communities here in Jacksonville, which typically is referred to from mainly Duval County. But overall, it's an amazing aspect to have because of the fact that a lot of people who move here move from up north or out west, and they like to have gas. So it's amazing when you get a community like this that has that already done for you. Because again, most other neighborhoods, whether they're new or old, you may have to do a tank or propane. So to have this ready to go is an awesome feature. And then, like I said, with the vented hood, just a really clean look there to give you that gourmet kitchen. And they finished it off with a nice, simplistic, sleek backsplash. As far as the island, we do have our nice deep sink here. Again, I love a nice big single sink, but I'd love to know your thoughts. Are you more of a double sink person watching this video, or do you prefer the single sink like myself? Love to see who's on my side, so to speak, on that. And they did do a very cool, faucet as well, just to kind of show it off. And then lastly, I mean, I would be remiss not to bring it up. I mean, look at this amazing large island. And this island is massive. And what I love about it is it opens up to the living and dining, but they angle it, almost like a 45-degree angle to the back of the house. So it's a little different than what we normally see, which is normally the island's facing the side or the back. In this case, it faces the corner. So it's just a really cool aspect that you don't see too often here. I know I don't with homes in Jacksonville. So I love when the builder does things like that. And then obviously we have our fridge as well right here. Then we get to our dining room. So this dining room, as you can see, this is an 8-seater table. And whether if you can tell in the video or not, you could easily do more than 8 seats. You could easily do a bigger table if you needed it. But the 8 seats just kind of shows you just how large of a space it is. It's nice and open to the kitchen. It's nice and open to the living room. And other things you're gonna see here is, they do have tons of natural light over here with all of the windows. And they finished it off too with a shiplap wall, accent wall. So it's just a really cool aspect. And the shiplap is something that's very popular here in Jacksonville, partially because there's a lot of nautical things with Jacksonville, considering that we have quite a bit of water around us. We have lakes, We have the St. Johns River, we have the intercoastal, we have the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. So it really ties into just what it means to live in Jacksonville with the shiplap wall. But overall, a really good sized space with the living room or dining room. And then we get to the living room. But before the living room, check out up here. I will say, I love when a builder does these wooden beams. In this case, they didn't just do the wooden beams, they also continue the shiplap up on the ceiling. So overall, it really gives it a very high-end look, high-end feel, keeps it very wide open, very light and bright. So just a lot of cool aspects that they did here that honestly I would do with my house, for my next one as well. I mean, it's just that impressive. We don't see it very often. So just really cool space there. And as far as the living room, what's there not to say here? I mean, it's a great size space. I love the fact that, like I said, it's open to the rest of the house. If you like to entertain and you're watching this video, this is the house for you because it gives you a great ability to entertain while still giving you privacy as well. So all in all, I mean, just a great use of the space, really great way that the builder designed this to really maximize this floor plan. Because this is a 50-foot wide lot. And so, or 50-foot wide home site. So they really wanted to make sure they fit as much as they could in their floor plans here. So I do love that. So next, you probably think we're gonna go see the primary, right? I'm sure that'd be the logical thing. Let's check out the primary bedroom, right? Well, no, we're actually going to first look outside, check out that beautiful backyard before we go into our primary bedroom. So with that being said, let's check out the backyard now. All right, so let's go and check out here. One cool thing here is they do give us the sliding glass doors here, but you also get sliding glass doors in your living room as well. So you have multiple entry and exit points back here. So again, you have that ability to open up the space and really combine your outside with your inside, which is super popular here in Jacksonville. Is really what people love to do across the board because they love to entertain. Because of the weather we get here in Northeast Florida, here in Jacksonville, it's all about entertaining. So what this builder did to be able to do that is they gave us a really cool pergola out here, as well as a nice area here for our gas grill and workstation here. So that way, again, you come out here to put some steaks on the grill, for a college game day or for an NFL football game or March Madness for basketball, and you have that ability to just put your food here, put it on the grill. When you get done, you take it off the grill, bring it inside, or again, if you're out here enjoying the weather, maybe you're eating outside. So again, if it's steak, if it's burgers and hot dogs, whatever the case may be, just really cool that they already gave you your station there for it. And next to it is actually a really cool thing. They gave us a gas, not necessarily a fire pit, but a fire feature right here. And they gave us a really cool wall here to kind of give you a little more privacy with it. So again, this isn't something that you would probably sit around and put marshmallows over the fire, so to speak. But if you have people visiting for the day or for the night, and you just want to create a cool ambiance, or even if you don't have anyone visiting, you just want to just create a cool ambiance in general, it's a really cool thing to just kick that gas fire on, have it go, and create that really cool ambiance and element with the space. And then as far as this back porch, it is massive. I mean, just look at the size here. I mean, we've only talked about half of this back porch. I mean, seriously, if you like to entertain, this is a great space to be able to entertain. Obviously they have a 4-seater circular table here, but you could easily do a bigger table. And obviously, again, what's cool about this is, sure, you have this table out here, so on a nice sunny day like today, you can hang out, you can, with friends, family, relax. But let's say it's raining, because again, here in Jacksonville, we do get rain during certain times of the year, certain days. So the cool aspect is because of how they designed this with having this section under the same roof line, you actually get protection from the sun, from the rain. If you wanted to screen in, you could. If you want to get protection from any sort of bugs. So it's a really cool way to provide some space outside the protection and some space inside the protection. And I love the fact that they kept this more casual with the couch and a couple chairs. They even gave us a spot over here. I'll highlight that. They even give us a spot over here to be able to mount our TV. Because again, people here in Jacksonville love sports, whether it's football, basketball, baseball. So there's not many houses you'll go to here in Jacksonville where you won't see a TV mounted outside, because because people love to be able to watch sports outside or just watch TV outside and enjoy this amazing weather. That is why people love being in Jacksonville. So that's going to kind of do it for out here. So let's go now check out that primary bedroom I mentioned before. All right, let's check out this primary. So what I really like about it is you do have this little alcove when you first come in to give you more privacy, to really separate the primary bedroom from the rest of the house. But as you'll notice when you come in, this is a massive primary bedroom. You know, and the reason why it's massive is one, yes, it's an amazing size, but two, you know, we do have those taller ceilings in here, and we have that tray ceiling as well, which just really opens the space up, really makes it you know, feel bigger. And with the tray ceiling, we also have, and they did it in a more of a herringbone pattern, but we have a wood inlay in here as well, which is, again, it's very elegant, it's very sleek, it's very simple, but it pairs very well together with the chandelier they put in here. But to be honest, I'm not much of a chandelier guy myself. If it was me, I would probably put a ceiling fan. But the cool part about these model homes, you get to kind of see a couple different ways of doing it. So that part's really cool. So if you want to know what makes the most sense for a space like this though, feel free to reach out to me and we can go over that as well to figure out, again, if you're gonna build here in Jacksonville, what makes sense for all the spaces of the house. I also do love the fact that we do have a lot of natural light here. What's really cool is if you have a really cool, nice day out, you know, open up the windows, you can on the sides, but you do still have the solid window here as well. So just give you some different elements you can play around with it. So that's a really cool aspect. And then just for reference, this is a king size bed. So we have the king size bed there. We have the end tables. We have the seat here, so you know, to you know, take your shoes off, put your shoes on. And we still do also have a little book nook off to the side with the table and chair. We have our dresser here as well. So you may ask, okay, Justin, why are you going through all this? I'm going through it all because it just goes to show we have all these things in this room, and yet there's still so much more room for activities. There's so much more room to walk around. You don't feel like you're claustrophobic or packed in. So it just goes to show just how big of a space this primary bedroom really is. By far, one of the best features of this house is this massive primary bedroom, honestly. Then from the primary bedroom, we are gonna come into our primary bathroom. So the bathroom here, we do have our water closet when you first come in, and then you get to the shower as well as the double vanity. So this builder loves to do their shower and vanity the same way for most of their floor plans. Nothing wrong with that. Again, one of those things, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, so to speak. But overall, it's a very cool way they did this with matching the countertops and the cabinets that you saw in the kitchen. They even did some nice open shelving here, so you can kind of put, you know, some decorative things if you want up here, you know, to kind of show it off. But overall, just a really good sized space. And I actually love the gold hardware that they did in here. That's one thing that, interesting enough, you know, it does blend in a little bit with the cabinets, but it really looks amazing offset with the gray countertops. So just a really cool aspect. And they even did like some of the lighting that hangs down here, the pendants. So again, that's one of those things it's cool because you don't see it too often. Definitely one of those things that not sure it makes sense to do with the builder. Some people probably do like that, but it is kind of cool to see what it looks like. And then over here, we have our shower. Now, what I love about this, it's a walk-in shower. You know, they give us two heads here, so you do have multiple heads. You know, two heads are better than one, as they say. But a couple things I love about this, you know, you do have the step down here. So the step down here, it's minimal, but what it does, what's really cool about it, is it keeps all the water in the shower, and it allows you not to have a door here. Because sometimes having those doors, they can be tough to open at times. You know, they don't always sit properly, you know, in the doorway. So to have it nice and open, it's just really convenient. And the way you can do that is by having that step down. And then honestly, I mean, look at this. Look at this, this wall here with this tile. You know, this accent wall, so to speak. I mean, it's a little bit in your face, but it really epitomizes color-wise, you a lot of what Jacksonville's about. It has a very nautical look to it, that very turquoisey look. It kind of matches some of the turquoise we saw earlier in the video. So personally, I love what they did here, especially because they went up to the ceiling with the tile. But let me know, I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you like this, or is it too much for you? I'd love to know, how I compare to you when it comes to some of the features in this house. And then lastly, we're gonna end off here with the primary closet. So this primary closet, it's a very good size across the board. The cool thing about it is you could easily put a dresser or two in here, maybe even 3 or 4, and you still have plenty more space. The builder here, they kept the primary pretty simple. They didn't do any sort of custom closets in here, but you definitely could. And obviously, if you wanted to, you could close off the closet from the primary bathroom if you want to put a door there. But it just goes to show you, I mean, obviously it's a great size space. I mean, I can come closer to the camera, I can go further away from the camera, just to kind of show the size, but it's a really good size primary closet that really kind of ties in with just how good of a size the primary bedroom is. So all in all, I mean, just really well thought out floor plan, really epitomizes a family that's looking for, as much space as possible for the primary. Because again, some people, they want to have more space for the living spaces, but some people, they want to have more space for this, for themselves, for their privacy, for when they want to get away. Obviously, it all depends what you're looking for, but I do love what the builder did here by really emphasizing the primary bedroom, bathroom, and closet. So with that being said though, let's go and talk more about what it means to live here in Jacksonville, and more importantly, what it means to live in this community that we're in today.
All right, what did you think about this floor plan? Honestly, I love this outside. I love the weather. It's actually why I'm out here right now. I mean, how could you not want to be out here with this beautiful weather? This is really what it means to live in Jacksonville, is to be able to have these birds behind me, not a cloud in the sky. It's really just why people want to move to Jacksonville. That being said, we are currently in the Seven Pines neighborhood, which is super convenient to I-295 and to Butler Boulevard. So the cool thing about that is, again, location-wise, if you want to head to the beach, which is a very popular place for a lot of people here, again, being right on the Atlantic coast is a beautiful aspect. But if you want to pop over to the beach, here's the cool thing. It only takes you like 15 minutes, maybe 20, depending on where you're going to the beach. But overall, that's a very super convenient drive time to be able to get out there. Now, let's say you want to go to restaurants or shops and stuff. Well, you have the St. John's Town Center, less than 10 minutes away as well. So you have a lot of things conveniently located to you just right down the street from Seven Pines, the community we're in currently. Which, by the way, like I said, is Jacksonville's hottest community right now in the area. But overall, we also have some really good schools here. Some amazing private schools like Providence, Episcopal, Bishop Kenny, Bowles. But also there are some really good public schools here, as this is zoned for some of the better per grade schools. Let me rephrase that. Per grade schools, some of the better schools here in Duval County, which is what makes up mainly Jacksonville. So overall, really great aspect there as well with living here. Now, as far as this house, this is actually the Brightman floor plan. It's a floor plan that's built by David Weekley here. The cool thing about this floor plan is it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom floor plan, but even though it's only a 50-foot wide lot, it's still over 2,300 square feet. So you still get a great feel, a great amount of space to work with. And what's really cool, something that we couldn't highlight today because of the fact that they use it as their sales center, is this one actually has a 3-car tandem garage. So what that means is, yes, you may only see 2 cars from the front, but one of the sides of the garage actually goes back deeper. So you actually have the ability to put 3 cars in a garage for a home like this. So a really cool aspect that you don't get very often across the board here in Jacksonville. So just a really cool thing to always mention. In addition, this house starts at $663,800. Obviously, it goes up from there, and they have different elevations as well. But it's a very amazing price to start at to get into a neighborhood like Seven Pines and in a location like Jacksonville. And again, for a model like this, it does have a lot of upgrades. So if you want to know more about what this specific model is going for right this second, how much money they put into upgrades for this, reach out to me so I can help answer any questions you have about that as well. And also incentives. I'm sure you've heard of it. I'm sure you love to know what they are. For here in Seven Pines, Dave Weekly has different incentives for all their floor plans, as well as different incentives if you're buying brand new from them, or if you're buying one of their quick move-in homes, which means they've already chosen all of the items for the home, all the design options. So that way, again, if you're on a quicker time frame, those could be a great choice for you because you don't have to wait for it to be built. It's already ready to go. Now, one thing to keep in mind, incentives and price, they're always subject to change. So if you want to know what they are right this second, reach out to me so we can go over that as well. Because my goal is always to be there to help you throughout the process. With that being said, I will see you guys again on our next model home tour, so stay tuned for that. And if you want to see some of our other model home tours that we've had in the past, over here at the end of this video, we're going to have some links to some of our model homes that we've done recently. So feel free to check those out to see what some of the other model homes here in Jacksonville have to offer. With that being said, I'll see you guys again in our next video.